Welcome to Midlife Unplugged, the fuck it years. I'm your host, Lara Portelli. This is the space where we strip away the polite BS, rip the gloves off and get real about what it means to thrive in our second act. Each week I'm joined by a guest who's walking their own bodacious midlife path. We're talking menopause, divorce, reinvention and everything in between. Buckle up, because this isn't your mother's midlife crisis. This is Midlife Unplugged.
Welcome back, everybody, to Midlife Unplugged, the fuck it years. I'm your host, Lara Portelli, and today our guest is Rose Wippich, all the way from New Jersey in the USA, a long way from us here in Australia. Welcome, Rose. Welcome,
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you, Lara.
Yes, I can't wait to unpack your midlife journey. And as as I've learnt from some of your teachings and writings, that, unfortunately, some women think midlife is a bit of a curse or it's downhill, but there's women out there that are proving that wrong, and that midlife is actually time to start again, or a second act, or time to find pieces of us that we thought were missing. Would you agree with that, Rose?
Absolutely. I think it's the best act.
Okay. So, Rose, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll get into a chat.
All right. So Rose Wippich, and like you said, I'm in New Jersey. I also have my own podcast called Chat Off the Mat. I just recently wrote a book or launched a book called Empress Rising. It's about midlife and beyond, embracing that life and sovereignty and saying fuck it to everything except what you want to do. I love it. And I have twin boys as well in college. I became a mom late in life. And I feel that the best years were when I started really embracing what I wanted to do, and just things just started just changing and transforming in my life. And that's why I'm here today.
Amazing. So, Rose, I know some of your journey, and let's unpack that a little bit. So, you were diagnosed with breast cancer the same age
Yes.
as your mum,
Yes, actually, the same age as when my mom passed away.
passed away. Wow,
So yeah, that was a little scary. So she passed away at 49, and just shy of my 49th birthday, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to kind of get past that hurdle, right? So think about that age is about midlife, right? So big shocker at that time, at that point in my life. Yeah.
yeah. And how did you deal with that? What drove you through that journey? What helped you to get through what was happening for you at that time in that part of your midlife?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that my kids were 7 years old, and after that initial shock and saying, "Oh my gosh, why is this happening to me?" I literally just kind of brushed myself off and said, Rose, you've got a long life ahead of you, and you have a lot of things to do." I didn't know what those things were yet, besides raising my children, but I said, "You have a lot of things to do in this life, so you got to get through this," and I did. And I also was a Reiki master at the time, practicing Reiki on myself, mostly my family and myself. And I think that that tool helped me also to get through doing that energy work on myself, and really felt that I can heal myself on some level during that whole process.
Love it. Love it. So you're come out the other side now, and were you always doing, like, I also like that you do Reiki, is it yoga and Qigong,
Yes,
some
yeah.
modalities. Can you help us, for the woman at home who's probably doing the dishes now or picking up the toys off the floor at any time of the day or night? And let's talk to our audience and our women at home that, maybe thinking, oh, I just need some time for myself. What's something that I could put into my week that will work time wise? Can you talk to us a little bit about, because I know people think, we all know about yoga, um, and probably a bit about yoga and, sorry, Reiki. What's Qigong?
So
Qigong.
Qigong, I'm so glad you asked me that. Uh, I love that. So Qigong, Qi is energy, and Gong means working with your energy. So Qigong is movement. It's a movement practice that we can do standing and sitting. It depends if you need to sit. And if you think about Qigong, Qigong is like the umbrella under which all martial arts is under, like Kung Fu, Tai Chi. If you've ever heard of Tai Chi, it's those movements that you see old people do in the park. Well, it's not for old people, it's for anybody. And it's great because it helps you to really connect with your energy and move stuck energy. So think about like our lives, like we're so busy, we don't take care of ourselves, we're sitting all day, and our energy gets like just kind of sits there and it doesn't move around. And it blocks our health. So when we're moving our bodies in this very healthy way, we're moving that stagnation, and it really helps with benefiting the organs and your mood and your hormones and all that great stuff. So it's accessible to anybody. You don't need any special equipment, which I love as well. And it's really catching on. It's like the next yoga wave, which I love.
Okay. And have you always worked? So you talked about your fuck it moment at 49 and your
Right.
true calling. And have you always worked in those modalities, or did you have a life prior to 49 where you were doing something that you didn't love? Because again, talking to our audience who's listening and the woman out there that's, am I going to be stuck in corporate? Am
Right.
I, yeah. And the other thing, I can remember working in a job that paid the bills and I kind of liked it, but coming home and sometimes looking for an escape. So I'm interested to hear your version of, did you always work in a job you loved, or was it in your fuck it moment um that you said, no, I'm going to stop doing what I don't love and do what I do love now, if that
So
makes sense.
I did, yes, absolutely. I did work in corporate for a long time and then got pregnant with my twins, and that had to stop. I had to stop working because then I had to be on bed rest. So when my kids were born and when they were little, I became a realtor. Now I hated that. So a realtor, I don't know if they call the same thing in Australia, but someone who sells houses and shows people houses. And we needed to have the extra income, so I did that. I hated it. I hated it, and I didn't want to do it, but I did, and I did it for 10 years. And after 10
Wow.
years, that's when I said, "You know what? Fuck this. I hate it." And that's when I became a yoga teacher. At
Okay.
55, I went
Wow.
to 200-hour training with all these younger people, and I absolutely loved it. And I said, this is what I want to do. I always knew I wanted to teach others and inspire women. It was always about women because women, they're home taking care of the kids. It's
Mm,
chaotic every day. They don't know how to take care of themselves and carve time for themselves. And I wanted to just say, this is what you need to do because I know for me personally, I had a yoga practice for years and it saved my life. It saved my sanity. So becoming a yoga teacher for me was so pivotal. And then a few years after that is when I started practicing Qigong. And I was like, oh my God, I love this too. So I just started to do what I felt I wanted to do and where I felt intuitively guided towards. And I love teaching people. Absolutely love it and changing their lives. I changed their lives through these practices.
mm. How
Yeah.
did that make you feel at 55? I know you said doing the course, the 200-hour course with younger people, but how did it make you feel? We talk about getting a hit of dopamine from exercise or whatever.
Hmm.
Some people like a wine, some people like different things. Did it make you feel,
Scared.
um, that's what I was getting at. Scared,
Scared.
but yet you still went on and
Yes.
did.
Because I
Okay.
knew it was, yeah, I knew it was something I had to do. It was just like, I knew that in my bones. But I was scared because it was a lot of information. I was 55 and I practiced all day long. I actually became probably in the best shape of my life at that time. Wish I can go back. But it was scary getting in front of an audience and teaching. It's so different from when you sit on a mat and practice. So I felt like
Ah,
an imposter. I was like, who am I to do this? But I had been practicing for 25 years already. And I transformed. I did all this, a lot of spiritual practice on myself. Trust me, I had a lot of fucking moments in my life, a lot of big changes I had to make in order to find peace and really return to myself. But I stuck it out and I kept at it. And that's that was my journey, part of what my journey had to be. And I encourage women to, If there's something that they know that they want to do, don't be afraid. Try it. What
Mm.
what have you got to lose? Look at me. I gained so much just by helping others and doing what I love.
Mm. I love that. So again, for the woman that might be standing at the sink or getting the washing in, this is your moment to put the washing basket down for a moment and, have a listen to what Rose is saying. It's scary, but it's doable. It's
Yes.
doable. I know for
It's
myself, I left a 25-year marriage 4 years ago and walked out with the clothes on my back. Did I know where I was going? Do I know what the next day was going to bring? Not at all. But it's having that. I like what you said about you knew in your bones. It's that intuition that you will be okay. It's not written out for us or mapped out, for a woman with making a big change in her life. I've often heard people say too, there's no book for parenting. Well, there's no book when you're making big changes either, but there's this innate knowledge that everything will be okay. Having
yeah.
that faith in what you're going to do and you want to do, and also faith in yourself.
That's I was going to say the confidence and faith in yourself, right? No one's going to
Absolutely.
do it for you. You have to do it yourself. But I'm glad you mentioned again, listen to what lights you up. What lights you up? What is it that makes you feel really good and excited? And that's like a light shining on something that you may need to do. Look at all the things that you're doing in your life, right?
Mm.
Who knew I was going to be here talking to you, doing my own podcast, writing my own book? Didn't know it, but guess what? I did. It's like you walk in one door and all these other doors open up for you.
You're taking that step.
Yeah.
So, Rose, when we're talking about these practices, what in implementing a change, not every woman, of course, or husband out there needs to dissolve a marriage of 25 years. Or, some people, there's other components that go with things when people make major life decisions. But if someone wanted to make some small changes in their daily routine or life, or say the couple at home, that mum's been home all day with the children, what piece of advice would you give the mum that's been home with a sick child, day after day and not done anything for herself for, let's just say, months and months, been maybe a new mum or whatever that someone's individual circumstances may be? What piece of advice would you have for implementing a change? Something like, okay, we're talking today about exercise, so we could keep along that vein, but what would you recommend?
So, and I wish I had advice when I had my kids earlier in life, but it's really important to carve time out for yourself. That whatever that is, and it's almost like you're creating a boundary. So you're telling your partner, "Listen, I really need the time for myself," because otherwise, it's really hard to survive being a mother of young children, even teenagers. We get lost in being a mom, a parent, a wife, a partner, even a daughter. And we forget who we are. And the more you neglect your self-care or what you want to do, it's going to be harder and harder to do it, right? You just kind of there's a term that's being tossed around a lot called self-abandonment. You start to abandon yourself and what you want to do. So creating those boundaries or creating, with others and carving out time in your schedule on a regular basis, even once a week for coffee with your friends, is really important.
Mm.
And it may not be easy, but I think once you do it, you'll see all the benefits you'll get from it. It could be just like even taking a bath and saying, listen, I'm going to go take a bath, or just go in the bathroom and, you know, hang out for a while in that sacred space. I encourage all women find a place that they can go to, even in their home, where they're undisturbed, even for 10 minutes, close their eyes, uh, hold a crystal, to have a cup of tea. It's so important that you have time for yourself so that you gain that respect for yourself and also others. You're telling others to respect you by
Yes.
honoring your time.
I can remember working in corporate and getting to a point one day where the phone was ringing, the emails wouldn't, and just everyone wanted a piece of me. And I actually went to the bathroom and just sat on the toilet. I
Yep.
didn't need to go to the toilet to use the bathroom. I just couldn't take anymore. I just had to sit and get away
And
from the,
they'll find you in there too,
you know, are
just
you
like
there?
kids. But you know where I find, and I know did a little video about this the other day. It's like my car. Sometimes when I'm in my car, it's like my space. Like you're driving even, and you go for a ride, and you're by yourself, and you have your music, and you can sing loudly, and no one can get to you. Turn off your phone. I love that. Like your car could be your sanctuary, even.
Absolutely. Just that moment away, just that moment. And
Yeah,
little habits build, like you were saying before,
yeah.
that first door, take that first step.
And don't
That
feel
is,
guilty.
yeah, don't feel guilty.
Don't feel
And
guilty.
the other thing I like that you talk about too, Rose, is that suppressing anger. And it gets stored in our body because if we go on from where we've just been talking about onto the next
Yes.
step, if we don't do it, what's the outcome?
Yeah. I just had a conversation with someone the other day, and she was talking to me, and you can tell she had a lot of anger. And she's going to a psychiatrist. And I said, "Well, what do you talk to about your psychiatrist? What does she say?" She goes, "Oh, she says I'm so composed going through all these things in my life that I'm going through." I says, "She says you're composed, but you're talking to me right now and you're so angry." I says, "You need to learn how to manage that anger. You should never suppress your anger. You should find a healthy way to express it." And it could mean a sport or even taking a boxing class or punching a pillow or journaling about it. But yes, anger is, um, it could be very powerful in a way that it'll hurt you physically and emotionally.
Mm. Yes, I agree. So if we layer up on that, Rose, I also see that you gave up drinking alcohol about 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yes, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you believe that you were using it for maybe not the right word is coping, but you you gave it away. And tell us a bit about that. Like tell us and the audience that are listening that what giving up alcohol meant for you and did for you.
Sure. So, I mean, for me, drinking was social. Getting together with friends or mostly, and then drinking every night or most of the time during dinner because we loved our wine. I grew up in an Italian family. Even made our own wine, but then it became a habit, right? Starting to cook, I wanted a glass of wine. And then I realized that my body wasn't responding well anymore. I had had cancer already. I didn't want cancer again. My father died from cancer as well that was related to smoking and drinking, the doctor said. Um, and it just wasn't making me feel good. I didn't like waking up in the middle of the night, sweating, and then the next day beat myself up over it. So I started to write about it. That's how I started. I started to write about it, and then I started to ask for guidance on how to stop it. I used Qigong also to help me um, manage those emotions around it, and a lot of Reiki and a lot of prayers, and also yeah. So then I stopped. I just stopped drinking just like that, and it's been 2.5 years, and I feel amazing. I haven't, you know, lost any weight, but that's okay. I feel good. I sleep much better. I don't have a desire for it. And I'm a clearer channel for it as well. So I am more in tune to like higher guidance or higher source for when I do my energy work as well. So it's been really helpful and I love it. And I know that there's a almost like a trend that people are experimenting or are sober curious. And I think that's fantastic because I also want to
What
be a good example for my kids.
what did you call it? Sober curious.
Yeah,
I like that.
sober curious. Yeah, look, yeah, it's another term I've heard used many times for people that, they want to stop drinking for 30 days and see how they feel. Um, yeah, There's a whole trend on people drinking less now.
I'm curious to know, ask and know, Rose, if you felt like a drink, would you take one? Would you have one, or you just,
Now,
yeah,
no,
now?
no, don't have any urge. I I don't feel I need to have one. I don't miss it.
Mm.
Uh, the biggest concern that I had, or I should say fear, again, was being judged by others in an environment where everyone else was drinking, and they're like, you know, maybe not be accepted. So, but that didn't make, I didn't worry about that long. I let that go.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And Rose, you do things differently, I've noticed. You had your twins later in life. Was that a conscious choice that you did that, or
So I met my husband
circumstances?
later. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I had been married once before
Hmm.
when I was younger. Not, yeah, I guess right after my mom passed away, I got married. That didn't last long. That was 2 years. And so then I was single on my own for a long time and met my husband when I was around 38. And then we got married at 40 and I had my children at 41. But I always knew I was going to have twins. It was one of those feelings that I had, and I had them naturally. They run in my family. And so I always said, God's, saving me to have twins. And I was right. So I almost feel like manifested them as well. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So for the woman that out there that might be getting some pressure that, oh, your clock's chiming away, you're ticking away, you're leaving it too late. What advice would you have for the woman that out there that is listening now with her glass of wine that she might be, it's wine o'clock for her. Um, and plus you see we seem to have this societal pressure. You get married when you're having a baby.
right.
When you're having
First
a
thing,
baby. When you're
right.
having a baby. You're going to need assistance. You didn't, but
I
you
did
knew.
not. Yeah. Yep.
You knew.
I knew.
Um,
I was gonna have I knew I was gonna have twins. And it did. But it's a choice. It's a hard one. Society does put a lot of pressure on women, and then a lot of women can't. There's a lot of fertility issues, and that stems back a lot to, your energy is maybe imbalanced. And I was talking about that energy in our bodies. A lot of acupuncture is now being used to help women conceive. So that's a tough one, but you know, having being motherhood is a personal journey, and if you want to have kids, and hopefully you can have kids, but it's not easy raising children at any age. 41 was hard, but I did it. And yeah, it was great. That was my midlife. That was entry into my midlife, having
yeah.
having twins.
And
They
as you
kept
say,
keep me young.
it's an individual choice. And I think there's
Yeah.
too much pressure out there that you've been married 2 years, why don't you have a baby?
Yeah.
Maybe don't want one just yet.
A lot of people, I think there's a trend. This was years ago. I heard this, that less and less people are having children,
Hmm.
you know, but who
You
knows? That could
mentioned,
change.
I don't, yes, in my, like I can, I got married when I was 29, and that was quite late in terms of what was happening in Australia then. And I see a lot now of girls like 19. It's gone back that way a little bit on that
Yes.
curve. Like our grandmothers, 18, 19. I'm thinking, whoa, they haven't
Yeah.
lived, they haven't traveled, but they're happy. If they're happy,
Yes. They find someone
yeah,
that they love instead of I think the dating scene. If I had to do that again, that would be difficult. I don't know. I think at this point I would say I'm good by myself. Thank you. I don't want
abs
to take care of anybody else. No, no other man. I'm good. So,
absolutely. It's a bit difficult, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's like looking, well, yeah, sometimes it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. I did it for a little while myself and I just, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But for women, I think we need to really return to the self. We need to take care of
Mm,
ourselves and kind of not master, but like just enjoy our life, enjoy who we are, get to know ourselves. Right? We don't get a chance to pause and say, okay, you know, who's Rose? What does Rose want to do today? What is Rose like today? Why, how has she changed? Like we change, but we don't get a chance to really, um, you know, have a relationship with ourselves. And I think that's important.
Yeah, we don't get to embrace who we are, do we?
No, no, we're too busy doing for others.
Mm. And the other thing I like that you have mentioned, Rose, is about no longer feeling or being invisible.
Yes.
And that goes along with what you were just saying there, that I think that forms part of knowing thyself. As I know as a daughter, as a sister, as whatever you may be on the day, you can just get lost in in that in that role,
Chaos in that role. Yeah,
in that
exactly.
hat that you might have on in that moment. Who am I in this moment? And the other the other really good one I've learned now is no is a full sentence. It used to be no because I have to go and do this because and it was like a 3 minute, but
Yes.
it's just
Why is
no.
that? It's just no. No explanations, and
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, yeah. I think
yeah,
that's a hard one. And also the I'm sorry one, where we say I'm sorry. I know I do too. I'm like, darn it, why did I say that? It's like, I should be, I don't know, tapped on the head every time that happens. But yeah, no and sorry. Those like, say no more often and say sorry less.
mm,
Maybe we should create a slogan.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I tend not to say I'm sorry anymore. I just use the word apologies. Oh, apologies for that. To me, that doesn't feel so soul destroying. So when like you were just saying, if I say sorry for something I haven't done, that really messes um
Mm,
with my mind and my soul. And I go, well, I didn't do anything wrong, but why am I saying sorry? And then I analyze it for too long. So if I
yeah.
just use the word apologies, that's short, brief, and I can kind of feel okay with using that word.
Yeah, because you're not really directing it to yourself by saying apologies, where you're saying I am. It's more
That's right.
like, yeah, that's great. I
Apologies for
love
that.
that. Oh, I love
Apologies for
that.
that.
I'm taking that one.
You can
May I
take that.
borrow it? All right.
You can have it. You can
I
have that.
love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Life
Okay.
changing.
All right, everybody out there, did you hear that? I actually worked with a client a long time ago, and I had an S jar. You know how some people have a swear jar? That I wanted to do an S jar for that person because every time that person said sorry, it was just so
Oh,
much in their vocabulary. Sorry, or sorry for that, or sorry for that, or sorry for that. I wanted a jar where they put the money in every time they used the S word. There was no more S word. Sorry. It's apologies, apologies,
I love that.
apologies.
I'm
Yeah,
going to use that too. And then at the
yeah,
end of the year, I'll probably have a lot of money in that jar, but I'm going to try both.
absolutely.
See which works.
All right, Rose, as we wrap up today, is there anything else you'd like to add? This has been amazing chat. I loved it.
Well, I just want to say thank you for inviting me on the show and thank you for the work that you're doing. Congratulations that you have your books, right?
Thank you. And
And
you.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
my book Empress Rising, Own Your
I love
Energy.
it.
Yeah, thank you. It was a lot of work and I I love it. I love that I wrote it. It was a dream of mine to write and it just one day it just kind of came through. I wrote it down on paper and worked on it. So I'm really excited about that. And, if anybody wants to reach out, they can find me at rosewippich.com and my podcast, Chat Off the Mat. I would love to have you on as well, Lara.
Yes, yes, I will pop. I was going to suggest that. I'll be
Absolutely.
on your show. All right, lovely. I'll yes. So congratulations to you, Rose, on an
Thank
amazing
you.
book because it's work. It's like birthing. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. It
Um,
is.
congratulations. Okay. I can't wait to be on your podcast. And that's
Okay.
how we rock and roll, women that help each other out.
Right.
It's that sisterhood. It's kind of that kitchen table that we no longer have. I can remember my grandmother sitting around peeling the vegetables with the lady next door and having a coffee or whatever else they had a sip of in the day. Um, and it's no longer there. So this is our version in today's society, what Rose and I are doing. So find someone that you can do that with too. Lovely people. Okay, so this has been another episode of Midlife Unplugged the Fucker Ears. I'm your host, Lara Portelli, and thank you again, Rose.
Thank you, Lara. So great to be here.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of Midlife Unplugged, the fuck it years. If today's conversation lit something up in you, hit subscribe, share it with your midlife crew, and keep the conversation going. I'm Lara Portelli. See you next week for another raw, real, and unapologetic chat.